Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Game Day Tarps podcast. You already know me, Dally, alongside Daeden and Colton tonight, and we got some interesting takes coming your way. So stay tuned for that later on. But we do have hockey going on in the middle of the summer. You've guessed it right. The summer showcase is in full swing. And before you know it, we're going to get into all the attendees that are currently joining the camp. So without further ado, boys, let's start going through this massive list of attendees with the forwards. Got Cole Daeden from the Barrie Colts, coming back from last year. Sacha Boisvert from North Dakota. Justin Carbonneau from Blainville. Berkeley Catton, Brandon Coots, Michael Hage, Oli Josefson, Ben Kindle, Caden Lindstrom, Brady Martin, Porter Martone, Gavin McKenna, Michael Misa, Jake O'Brien, Tarek Parasak, Cole Reshny, Ryder Ritchie, Malcolm Spence, Merrick Vanaker, and Carson Wetch. It's a pretty star-studded forward group, boys, if you ask me. Some of them that are not able to attend were Carter Bear, Caleb Dayone, Liam Greentree, T. Jaginla, Jet Luchenko, Roger McQueen, Sam O'Reilly, and Beckett Seneca. Oh boy, but let's go through the rest of this list, gents, because wow, this decor, it's looking fairly spicy. Got Harrison Brunick from our Kamloops Blazers, pretty awesome. Ben Danford, Sam Dickinson, Charlie Illick, Spencer Gill, Henry Muse, Zane Perrick, who should have been there last year, boys. Owen Ports, Cameron Reed, Matthew Schaefer, Taryn Smith. And without further ado, obviously we got our goalies coming to the camp. We got Joshua Ravensbergen. Hopefully he makes, the camp this year. Time will tell. Jack Ivankovic, Carter George, and Evan Gardner. Another great pick there. So what do we think about this attendees list, boys? Very stacked. Compared to last year, that was fairly lackluster. Had a few big names, but fairly lackluster. What do we think of this list, though? It's looking very promising, I think.
It looks good. Missing Landon DuPont.
True.
Okay, so I was honestly thinking here that Spencer Gill, I got him mixed up with his brother Dylan Gill that played this year for Moncton. Spencer plays for Rimouski. Got that switched up. But actually, what I want to say about the summer showcase roster is I was thinking of how Canada was losing these games to Finland and Sweden pretty handedly, right? But then you look at the guys that are unable to attend, and you got Carter Bear, T.J. Ganley, Caleb Desnoyers, Beckett Seneca, Roger McQueen. I'm probably forgetting a couple, Sam O'Reilly. But yeah, those guys, that would make a big difference. I'm sure the other countries have some guys that probably can't attend as well. But like me and Colton talked on the live show the other day, the Americans don't really have a standout. I guess we figured out that the Finns standout is Atos Koivu. The Swedes I was about to say standout, but it's Ivar Stenberg is their standout. And Canada's, I guess we haven't really seen, but Stephen Ellis said Sacha Boisvert has been playing pretty good.
Did he make your roster? Because he didn't make mine.
We'll have to find out.
It's interesting though. The players that aren't there, like you said, and the players that are going to be with NHL teams, are they going to be allowed to go back? Does Schaefer make the Islanders full time? Will they let him go? Does Michael Misa play with the Sharks? Do they let him go? Because sometimes when you let players go, it happens. Look at what happened to Kirby Dach.
Yep.
Right? Broke his wrist. So
actually, both of the Dach brothers, Colton and Kirby, happened to Colton in Halifax.
That's true. Oh yeah, it did.
That's why Owen Beck got the call up.
Right. Yeah, let's see. So bad luck runs in the family, apparently. But there's certain players that I think that when I texted you and said, or texted you guys and said this team was hard to make, it really truly was. To crack that roster down, even from 44 guys that were invited, plus guys that you could think of who might make the team that weren't invited. to crack it down to 25 players, that was goddamn hard. And apparently you forgot somebody.
I just snubbed somebody so hard.
Well, there you go. When you'll have to remember who that is. But
I
don't know.
will.
Like I think for like Canada beat the US today 6-2. So that's good. Like I don't know.
Here's my thing though. Every team will always look good in your eyes on paper. This is exactly what the management, front office team, for Team Canada the last 2 years, the last 2 Christmas breaks, we're like, yep, we're bringing in the best of the best. No. But I am very confident, not in only my list today, but also your guys' list, and also of what's actually going on, right? We've had the Hunters, named the front office crew for this year. Like Team Canada is really cleaning house and saying, okay, like, you know what? We got to go back to our roots, be the best hockey nation in the world. And this is exactly what happened. This summer showcase, they're bringing in a lot of the top talent available. So hopefully, come the holidays, that's what's going to happen. They're going to bring in the best of the best and not just quaint, unique players that, they thought in their eyes was going to be better than the top scorers in their respective leagues. Like, obviously that didn't work out for you, but I think it's time to get into these lists, gents. Let's see what you guys brought to the table tonight.
Hold on, fellas. Just before we get into this, I do want to mention, I posted this on Twitter the other day. Go follow me at Daeden on Twitter. I posted that a little reverb of what Scott Wheeler said in his interview with Alan Millar. And Canada, like, obviously it was in tune with the summer showcase stuff, but Canada is going to be holding a longer selection camp, which is going to be good for Team Canada. They're going to be playing longer. The CHL teams support this, so it might be good for Team Canada. But yes, like you said, Dallas, why don't we start with your list?
Oh, boys, I think I cooked on this one, okay? So obviously we got the top dogs. Well, I'm not going to really say that, it's going to be in order per se, right? Like, obviously, my first line there, as you can see, is pretty stacked. We got on the left wing Gavin McKenna, center Mekumisa, and Liam Greenstreet on the right wing. That doesn't mean, right? That doesn't mean that that's going to be my, flush down the middle, right? Like, we could probably see maybe a Carter Bear or a Malcolm Spence on that first line. You never know. But let me just get into it. Merrick Vanacker and Jake O'Brien, bringing those two guys on, obviously they got some great chemistry back in Brantford of the OHL, right? So I think having those two guys on the line would be absolutely killer. Obviously, Beckett Seneca did not get selected last year. He definitely deserves to be there this year. Carter Bear, big name, coming out of the WHL from the Everett Silvertips, alongside, TJ Ginla from Kelowna, another guy that really should have been there. And Justin Carbonneau of the Blainville Armada is going to be another great pick for that forward core. Malcolm Spence from Erie Otters, and then Berkeley Catton obviously coming back, and Porter Martone. Now, Porter Martone, I wasn't too sure. Like, yeah, he had a really good tournament last year, but I do say that, yes, he should get some redemption, with a good team this year, but could we argue he had the best tournament? No, none of them really did, but I say maybe a redemption tour in his order for him, so that'd be pretty cool. And also I got Philippe Veliou from Val d'Or, who I thought was a great sleeper pick for a forward extra coming into this year's camp. I mean, personally, last year he scored 40 goals and 47 assists for 87 points on the year. He did really good. He really stepped it up for Val d'Or. Great pick out of the queue. And also, first round draft pick of this year, another extra for that forward core, Bill Zonin. He is the heart and hustle of the Round Noranda Huskies right now. And boy, he'd bring a lot of good presence in that locker room and a great scoring touch. But let's just move on to the defenseman now, all right? Obviously,
hold on.
Hold on, eh?
Let's talk about something there, because I know Colton's gonna say something. He said "fuck" a couple times there, so something was going on. I also saw a guy there that two guys that I probably did snub, and a guy on your defense I noticed that I probably snubbed, but we'll get into that in a sec. Colton, what are you going on about? Go on.
I gotta hear this.
No, I can't. You just have to see it, I think, when we do my list. I snubbed somebody so hard for some reason. I didn't think of him until after, and he is on Dally's first line. Wait, that looked good. Whatever that was.
Yeah, but it was the GDT live.
Oh, still looked good though.
Thanks.
All right, I'm not getting roasted yet, so I think I'm doing pretty good for myself. So I don't know. Let's see this defenseman, boys. Let's see this defenseman.
All right, let's pop it back up.
Okay, obviously, we got first overall pick in this year's draft, Matthew Schaefer out of Erie. No fucking question, boys.
Nah,
all right?
he didn't make my team.
Well, I debated it because, what if the Islanders are like, maybe, if he makes it at camp and then we'll just refuse for him to go,
My only question on
holidays.
your forwards was, where is Roger McQueen?
Good question. However, with his scoring talent, he's a really good asset to add to this team. However, with his past injuries, is it lingering? I don't know. So maybe he could be someone that could get bounced out of the tournament quick. But I don't know. I respect Roger McQueen a lot. He's a great player. Unfortunately, I didn't have him on my list, though. Because there was just a lot of great names.
Is that the same reason why Caden Lindstrom's not on your team? Injuries?
Injury, yeah. Injuries played a big factor for me. It's obviously it's uncontrollable sometimes, obviously. But it's who can I rely on the most, right? So I guess injury-prone factor really kicked in for me. But anyways, Sam Dickinson, another worthy defenseman that is able to return for Team Canada. Got him on that first line, no questions. Out of Barrie, we got Keyshawn Atchison, very good pick. Obviously, Zane Perek, another snub from last year. Harrison Brunick of the Kamloops Blazers, who got cut last year. I think he definitely deserves his spot on this year's team. There's no question. No question. A very good shutdown defenseman.
Well, hold on.
Minutes.
He didn't get caught. He got injured.
Oh, sorry, injured. And then Alex Huang out of Chicoutimi. Another good shutdown defenseman.
That's the guy I knew you were going to have on here. I knew you were going to put Huang on here because you put him on in your way too early predictions last year, and I knew it. I knew you liked a guy like Huang. What?
Okay.
It's Alex Cristoforo.
Okay, we're going to get into our extras now, all right? So obviously, Henry Muse, right? Another great defenseman. And Anthony Cristofaro, one of the best plus minuses in the OHL last year, right? He's a good penalty killer. Team Canada could use a defenseman like Anthony Cristofaro.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went a little OHL crazy here, boys. I just got to state for the record for anyone listening, this is not anything bias, right? There's no bias in this list whatsoever.
Sure.
It might look like it, but I clearly, but I'm just saying, for the goalies, I went with Carter George, Costanzo, and Ivan Kovic, all obviously out of the OHL. But when you had Joey Costanzo fighting with Jackson Parsons all year for goalie of the year out of the OHL last year, most wins in the league, right? That's a goal you can rely on. Joshua Ravensbergen, I did not put on this list solely because the fact he had a down year, but that doesn't disrepute his playing, right? He's a great goaltender. He's going to go far, for the rest of his WHL career and obviously into the next level. However, the reliability factor, I was like, well, I'm going to go with the up and up, the trending goalies that are doing really good for the respective teams and in their league. So then, I went with obviously Jack Ivan Kovic. He is now an OHL alum, considering he is moving on to the NCAA level. But another good returning goalie from last year's Team Canada. So I'd say my three goalies are actually pretty solid, boys. Go on, go roast me now. Pick it apart. Let's go.
I don't mind your forward group, actually. I really like your forward group. Defenseman. Let me just pop this back up here. I like obviously Schaefer.
Who are you missing?
And Perek. Huang's the only I don't know. And Cristoforo. I don't really like Huang, Cristoforo. I don't know. But that's all I'm gonna say. I like your list otherwise. Maybe not Joey Costanzo, but
it's good. You're good. My list sucks. I have to immediately scratch players on mine.
Go ahead.
So, Yeah, so my fuck thing earlier, my DEFCON 5 was I forgot Gavin McKenna. So immediately remove okay, remove my bias. So immediately remove Tommy and added Gavin McKenna because I fucked up.
Wait. Hold up. How did you forget Gavin McKenna?
Do you want
I want the truth.
the G-braided version or do you want the other
Okay,
version?
I know what happened. Go on. Yes, I know.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So for forwards, Cole Baudouin, because obviously he remakes the team. Braden Coots, Caleb Desnoyers, Michael Hage, T.J. Ginla, Tommy Lafreniere, except he doesn't make the team. My bias shows there. But he won't make the team. Caden Lindstrom, Michael Misa, Porter Martone, Roger McQueen, Gavin McKenna, Jake O'Brien, Ryder Ritchie, Beckett Seneca, Merrick Van Acker. Just because Van Acker has been one of the best players at the Summer Showcase so far, and I'm pretty sure him and Jake O'Brien are like a lock to like continue to play together, right? So why not keep the chemistry going? It's like last year in Brampton with Porter Martone and Carson Rakoff. So I don't know.
Well, you remember the chat we had the other day with Reed Duthie, and Reed said that Merrick Van Acker might be one of the best power forwards in the CHL.
That was Scott Wheeler.
Right. That was Scott Wheeler.
But it was with Reed. We were talking with. Yes, 100%.
Go listen to that episode of GDT Live, by the way. But yes, that might be a good reason for Merrick Van Acker to make the squad.
Yeah.
Let's go to your defense.
To my defense. Kayshawn Aitchison, Harrison Brunick, Charlie Alex, Sam Dickinson, Henry Muse, Zane Perrick, Owen Protz, and Matthew Schaefer. But apparently I did a bad cut job on that one. So
that's all good. I knew who it was.
Owen Protz, like just because. What?
Sorry, Colton. I was just gonna say I really do like that Charlie Illick pick, right? Former Brandon Wheat King here. You know, he played really good shutdown minutes for the Wheat Kings before he ended up getting traded to Tri-Cities. Obviously, that big deal for Jordan Gavin. So regardless, I love the pick. You know, it's kind of, out of left field, but it's going to be good for Canada because they definitely need those shutdown defensemen. They were very lacking in their own zone at the last showcase, obviously in Ottawa. So I do like you having these shutdown defensemen on your list. More than
I think scoring. you put Elick with like a guy like Brunick or something where it just can activate. You can have that physicality with the offensive two-way game, and I think that would be a good way to do it. But I also have Owen Protz making the team just because I don't know. Just I talked to a few people last week, and people have really liking him. And we talked to Reed Duthie, and Reed had great things to say about him as well. And it seems like Protz is a defenseman that's just underrated on all aspects of his game. And for him to get the invite, I think he has a good chance to be with that guy that just kind of stands out and can get himself squeezed onto that roster. But I want to add one defenseman because I do have a weird feeling if he pops off, he might get an invite. But Landon DuPont, do we think he could get an invite if he is over a point per game by the time these invites start rolling out? Do you think they give him a shot?
See, here's my thing. Hockey Canada, if you look at that, they're stacked on the back end. Team Canada is completely fine on the back end. And Landon DuPont is going to absolutely rip up the U18 level, the Holinka Gretzky this summer. And him, Tynan Lawrence, like those guys, they could probably play on this World Junior team, guys like that. But for Hockey Canada's sake, and I guess their sake as well, why not just let them take the time to develop? That's my take. And I also think Hockey Canada, for the players that are on the team's sake, they're not going to throw a 17-year-old over them.
Yeah, and that's fair.
Respect that.
That's fair. That's fair, and that's kind of why I left him off the team.
Let's go to your goalies.
And then,
or you got more?
No. Well, I do, because we talked about this beforehand, but I don't have Jackson Smith on my team, and I thought about that afterwards because my whole thing was like, how many times does an 18-year-old make the World Juniors roster? Because like, and I guess like it was kind of like a stupid meme moment because a lot of the times 18-year-olds do make the World Junior roster, but for whatever reason, I picked other guys over Smith, and I should have, as soon as I picked Charlie Elick, I should have clicked in and thought like, oh yeah, Jackson Smith, former teammate with Tri-City, should have brought him. So
Friend of the show.
I do. Excuse me.
I said friend of the show.
Oh yes, friend of the show. So yeah, I do like Jackson Smith to make this team as well. I just apparently forgot him. If I can forget Gavin McKenna, apparently I can forget anybody. But on to my goalies, Carter George, Jack Ivankovic, of course, who's now with Michigan in the NCAA, and then Josh Ravensbergen. And the only thing with Ravensbergen is I think he just has a lot to prove. So I think that it'll come this year with Prince George that he needs to have a big year. A big first half, a big first couple months, I think, in order to solidify even a type of re-invite to come to the winter camp. But I don't really have a goalie in mind right now if he doesn't get the invite for a third string goaltender. I probably should have had come to the table with that. Well, who are other goalies? Like,
who I could see Hockey Canada inviting? Lucas Beckman from Baie-Comeau.
Yes, true. That's actually true.
Respect.
Because he's had a good year.
And he's played the last 2 years. He played under Ivan Kovic at the Halinka last year, and he played at the U18 championship again this past season.
Yeah, I like that pick. That's a good one. Sorry, Joey Costanzo, but I like that pick.
Yeah, Rip Costanzo. All right. Let me throw my list up here, fellas. Let me go through it, and you guys can rip me. We'll break it down just like we have. I'm going to start off. This is obviously in no order, but Carbonneau, Desnoyers, McKenna, Martone, Misa, Catton, Lindstrom, Sacha Boisvert, Cole Baudouin, Jake O'Brien, Ben Kindle, Cole Reshny, Ryder Ritchie, and Merrick Van Acker. The guy that I immediately noticed that I snubbed earlier was Mr. Carter Bear. Don't have him on my roster. So you guys take a look at the forwards there, and then we'll definitely rip it apart.
Boisvert. I don't know. Yeah, you talked about the injury thing, right? So, but Carter Bear also got injured. But
the thing, like I just look at Cade Lindstrom, and he came right back into the WHL playoffs and lit it up immediately.
Was he on my team?
Yes.
Yes. I also forgot Carter Bear. Man, my team sucks. I did not come prepared. Everyone's gonna beat me up.
I had to beat you two up right now. Something good, man. Both of you boys did not bring to the table Liam Greentree's name on your lists. That was a big snub of last year, right? In a lot of people's eyes, including mine.
The pick that surprised me on your list, Dallas, was Bill Zonin, actually.
Yeah, but he was like top 5 in Q scoring last year.
He was very good.
Yeah.
Hey, wait, what was the surprise on my list? Tommy?
Friggin' Gavin McKenna not being there.
Yeah, true.
All right, let's look at my defense quick, and then you guys can rip that apart too. So we've got Spencer Gill, Harrison Brunick, Kashawn Aitchison, Jackson Smith, friend of the show, Henry Muse, number 1 overall pick, Mr. Matthew Schaefer, Zane Perek, and Sam Dickinson, Mr. Put It In Your Own Net. What do you guys think of my defense?
It's good.
I honestly don't have a single issue with it, really. I think you brought a lot of good guys in there. Obviously, a lot of us have the same names. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much
what are your thoughts on the Spencer Gill pick?
He's been impressive, so I think it fits. Everything I've seen, people have said good things about him.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's a Philly prospect?
Yeah.
Or is that his brother?
He's a Philly prospect.
Okay. His brother's with Tampa. Right.
Yeah.
Justin.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Dylan,
I think it's fine. Yeah. I think your defense is good. It's better than mine.
Nice.
And just before we get into our next part of this episode, boys, where we will be compiling an entire GDT projected roster for Team Canada, we're just going to quickly throw it over to commercial, and we'll show you what we got cooking after these messages.
Looking for a new way to quench your thirst? Game Day Tarps is now an official Quench affiliate. Head on over to quench.ca/GameDayTarpsPodcast and use our code GameDayTarpsPodcast, all caps, all one word, for 15% off your total order. Stay cool this summer with the #1 sports drink on the market. Stay quenched.
Is the off season bumming you out?
Yeah.
Do you wish you had more hockey content to consume?
Yeah.
Well, head on over to patreon.com/GameDayTarps and check out all the exclusive content we have to offer. Behind the scenes videos, in-depth analysis, and so much more. Select a membership tier and enjoy the content made only for you. Only at patreon.com/GameDayTarps.
Alrighty, everybody, before we take it off to our last part of the segment here, where we show you what we've been cooking up behind the scenes, I just want to remind everybody out there tuning in on YouTube here, watching us on the Game Day Tarps podcast, make sure you also go find us on the Audible versions as well. We are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So without further ado, though, fellas, let's show everybody what we've been cooking up here.
All right, Dally, you just alluded to it. So this is our final Game Day Tarps, probably way too early, and it might change, but this is our way too early Game Day Tarps World Junior projection. Let's take a look. We've got Gavin McKenna, Michael Misa, Liam Greentree, Merrick Vanecker, Carter Bear, Jake O'Brien, Justin Carbonneau, Caleb Denoyer, Tisha Ginla, Porter Martone, Michael Hage, Beckett Seneca, Cole Reshny, and Braden Coots. So
those
fellas,
lines are not like
those aren't lines
either.
But fellas, what do we think of the final forward core that we've put together?
It took us
Very
half an
spicy.
hour, so I'm glad it's done.
Yeah, and you know what? We weren't really bickering at all behind the scenes. Like, we actually collectively as a group came to an agreed census, and I personally do like this list. I think that, we collaborated with this fairly effectively, and I think that this may be, in fact, a pretty close resemblance to what Team Canada may actually bring to the table come the holidays.
Yeah, fellas, I think it's a stacked roster. I think this team, at least with the forward group, might be able to get past the quarterfinals here for the first time in 3 years. But let's take a look at the defense. Matthew Schaefer, Zane Parekh, Sam Dickinson, Harrison Brunick, Kashawn Aitchison, Jackson Smith, friend of the show, Owen Protz, and Henry Muse. Fellas, what do we think of that defense core? Because I think it might be a step up from last year. I know last year we had Tanner Molendijk, Andrew Gibson. He played a solid tournament until the very last minutes of that quarterfinal game. It's still, I think this defense lineup is solid. You still have Sam Dickinson. You have Matthew Schaefer, an improved Matthew Schaefer after he just went #1 overall to the NHL draft. So that's giving him confidence. I think you throw a couple other guys on there like Henry Muse.
You get Parekh.
Yes, Parekh this year, finally.
I think Owen Protz is going to surprise a lot of people as well, and I think he's that guy, that seventh guy, that eighth guy that makes the team, kind of comes in and just kind of relieves guys. He can play a role where he can play one of the final exhibition games, so that a guy like Schaefer or a guy like Dickinson doesn't really have to eat up a bunch of minutes before a quarterfinal matchup. I think that's what the role could likely be for him. But even for forwards for a second, the one player we really debated taking off was Cole Reshny, was Ryder Ritchie. I think Ryder Ritchie could still it's all gonna depend on how the NCAA season goes for him, right? And I think that's the case for a few of these guys. That's why Caden Lindstrom's not on this team. That's why Roger McQueen didn't make this team for us either. And alluding to what Dallas had said as well, injuries play a big role. And we all kind of collectively agreed that, like, yeah, maybe that's something that you avoid, even though there's elite talent with both the players. Like, Lindstrom didn't miss a beat when he came back with Medicine Hat, right? So, just going back to it though, like, making the roster was a lot harder than I think people quite realize.
I just want to note on something there, Colton. You did say that one of those top defensemen might be able to sit a game out near the end of the preliminary round, but it's in the United States. The USA gets to make the schedule for this tournament, and I know for a fact they're going to put Canada right under the bus, and they're going to put the Canadians through the ringer. And recently, Canada hasn't been faring too well against those lower-ranked teams. Canada is in a group with Switzerland, who they've lost before recently internationally, not at the World Junior level, though, but they've also got the Americans and the Swedes and the Germans in their group, 3 teams that can really pop off at any time. And, I think Canada and USA might be going for a possible rematch of a New Year's Eve game.
See, that would be good. I think that'd be awesome. But yeah, this team is going to be different, I think, from all the other teams, right? Like, we kind of talked about this. It's a new regime that's now in charge, and there's different people now in power that can overlook this team, and maybe maybe Hockey Canada doesn't see an embarrassing exit like they did the last 2 years. So, I think we should look at the goalies, because it was pretty collective. The goalies aren't going to shock anybody of who we have here, but Carter George, Jack Ivankovic, and Josh Ravensbergen. And, I think the one thing that we talked about off the record here was, like, Ravensbergen, right? Like, it's all going to depend how he does with Prince George. He's going to be missing some key parts in Prince George as well this year. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does there. And other than that, though, Lucas Beckman was the guy that I think I really like that selection to be a third string goaltender if Hockey Canada goes that route. But what are your guys' opinions on Ivankovic and George being the pretty much the 1 and 2 tandem?
Yeah, I definitely think Beckman would be a great call for that number 3 spot if Ravensbergen doesn't get it. But I think the guy they have in mind right now is Evan Gardner. He was the guy that took the reins of the crease in Saskatoon, which ultimately led to Austin Elliott winning a Memorial Cup. But
He'll take that any day, right?
Exactly. But I do think Evan Gardner, Saskatoon guy, probably gonna work his way up there before a guy like Beckman does. But I do like that pick. But for the goalies that we do have, Ravensbergen, Ivankovic, Carter George, I don't think you can really change it up from last year. Ravensbergen probably not going to play. It's probably going to be Carter George most of the way, unless he has a fluke game, and then Ivankovic will probably come in and be able to do very well like he did up until the Eric Smith-Tako rocket in the shootout. But yeah.
We have 4 University of Michigan players on this team. Ivankovic, Muse, Hage, and... Oh, no, so just 3.
Yeah, just 3.
There was just 3. There was a 4th that I was thinking. I can't remember exactly who it was now.
Was it Malcolm Spence?
It was Malcolm Spence, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I like how our team is it actually is kind of very NCAA dominated. Huh.
And it's definitely no knock to the CHL too, because these were once CHL prospects as well once upon a time. But I also wanted to continue with that goalie conversation, right? Like, there's no bad pick whatsoever if they get a call from Beckman or if they keep Josh Ravensbergen on as that third guy, right? Like, you're going to win either way with the guys you have in the crease. 2 of them were there last year, right? They got a lot of good experience. They were riding with Carson Bjornsson, right? For a former guy who's been there a few times himself, who's owned the crease for Team Canada. He played phenomenal with, Brandon out in the WHL. The WHL can produce a lot of great goaltending, and I think Evan Gardner being that sleeper pick, if he does end up bouncing Joshua Ravensbergen out of that third spot for Team Canada, like, you're not going to lose. If you're Team Canada, you're not really going to lose out on that, right? Because you're going to get Saskatoon's number 1 man, or are you going to get PG's number one man? Obviously, I do like what you said, though, Colton, with Ravensburgen's game lately. Like, he's a phenomenal goaltender. However, his team around him is definitely going to be looking a lot different this year. Like, Saskatoon is again on the up and up. They're on the rise, trending as of PG, right? Last year was kind of like their all-out war, right, with the guys that they had before they were going to move on out of the CHL. So I think Prince George is kind of in a little bit of a rebuild. They may try to keep him on. They may try to shop him around before the WHL trade deadline. That could weigh on his mind, could help, affect his game. However, though, with that D-core not what he used to be for Prince George, I feel like Joshua Ravensburgen might have a little bit of a harder time getting back to his top A game. And his top A game was when he had Ty Young as the starter there in Prince George, and that really helped boost his confidence. He was a solid backup, and now being that number one guy in PG, I think it could be a little bit stressful, maybe too much pressure. However, just long story short, I think if you get Josh or Evan, it's going to be a win-win for Team Canada, guys, no matter what. These are good goalies you got.
Definitely. Well, fellas, we'll throw it up for you one more time. Take a look at it. This is our 2025 Game Day Tarps. Like I said, probably way too early projection. And it will probably change, or it might not. Because like I said, and we have all said, this is a pretty solid roster. We all like this roster, and we did go through it pretty thoroughly for a good 25 minutes or so behind the scenes. Dallas might have said 5 minutes before we went to break, but it ended up being a lot longer. But ultimately, I'm happy with it. Are you guys happy with this roster we made?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Here, I want to add something. We're not rumor boys. We don't spread shit like that. But you know what I just thought of, Dally? This made me think of something. You know where Ravensburgen could end up at trade deadline?
Kelowna Rockets.
Yes.
Memorial Cup hosts. Because they are in desperate need of that solid number one goaltender.
They have Harrison Bottiger, who's the American goaltender. Yeah, I think he played at the U18s last year. He's young. He's a 2007. Wait, so he's not that young, but he's a 2007. Anyways, they have Bottiger, who's signed. He's coming in this year, but you still need that elite goaltender, right? And that's no knock on Bottiger, but like having Ravensburgen,
right? Bringing
that
in
would
that
be good.
Oh yeah, bringing in that extra support, especially from your British Columbia rival too. Like, if I was Kelowna, I'd put all chips on the table. He's worth the price of admission, right? He's going to definitely excel your chances at being a good competitive host, and another household name up north for PG, right? None of you guys had him on this Team Canada list, but I did. Tarek Parasak could also be another trade chip that could be on the market before the WHL trade deadline. And again, another destination, probably the host Kelowna Rockets. So we definitely could see that. But I do love that hot take, though. Josh Ravensburgen to the Kelowna Rockets. That is a good take.
Just because we can go down a rabbit hole for a second, you know who else is a Washington Capitals prospect and a former Kelowna Rockets player, just because you mentioned Tarek Paraskak? Andrew Crystal, who didn't make last year's team. So
right.
Just wanted to add that.
For anyone that doesn't know out there, I'll just give you a little tip. This is predominantly a U20 tournament, but Andrew Crystal is 20 years old, so he is ineligible to make this tournament. Unfortunately, that window was last year. He should have made that team, but I don't know. Nobody thought, hey, this guy's going to light it up for Kelowna and Spokane, but let's just not get that scoring touch for our team. Let's take a quaint player who can skate differently and what I don't know. That Team Canada selection was just outlandish. But if he was eligible, Crystal would definitely 100,000% be on this list, gents. No doubt.
Yeah, him and Perrick should have been on last year's team, but that's, you can't really talk about that anymore. It's all in the past, right? We're going to talk about trades just because we're going to just keep doing that for a second here, and we can go off the rails for a second. There was a trade that Dally posted about in our group chat. Cape Breton traded Jakub Miota? Yep. How do you pronounce that?
Jakub Miota.
Yep.
Okay. So where did he go again?
Blainville.
Okay.
Yep.
So Blainville loading up, obviously, because Justin Carbonneau is going back. So Who else do they have this year?
Fashon went to Rimouski, so he was out, but he would have been a good addition for that team if they still had him. Plainville.
Elliot Letellier, Romain Letellier's brother.
Oh yeah,
actually,
yeah.
Elliot,
He got traded.
He got traded in that deal. Yes.
To Cape Breton.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, they've got Spencer Gill, of course. Bills on in. There you go. Damn, that's a loaded team out in the queue. When we do our predictions, that'll be fun. Our season predictions.
There's a lot of big names in the queue this year that could get shopped.
And a lot of like I saw Mark Alfred, who's a reporter of New England, say like a lot of Americans are showing up this year to camps in the Quebec League. So there's a big influx of American players going up there this year. So I think that'll be interesting to see which names actually do show up on those rosters, right? Because I think the date is coming up here soon where players have to let their USHL teams know that they're leaving. And a lot of players, from my understanding, a lot of top players haven't let their teams know yet. So
Interesting.
It'd be interesting, yeah. But anyways, our World Juniors roster, I love it. I think it's great. It's way too early. We'll revisit it again in November, probably. I think we should do, in November, I think we should do the US, we should do Finland, we should do all the teams and just kind of go through it all.
Oh, 100%. I am down for that. But I also want to make sure, continuing with Colton here, make sure that you go and comment down below who you thought should have been on this list, who should not be on this list. Obviously, we agree collectively as a group here at Game Day Tarps that this is the best possible list we could make. But we want to hear from you guys down in the comments because we'd love to hear exactly if you agree with us, if you don't, But yeah, just let us know.
Definitely. Well, fellas, I guess that does it for us here tonight. Dallas, Colton, Daeden, and the rest of the guys over at Game Day Tarps, we thank you. But first, go tune into everything on the Apple Podcast versions and Spotify versions, like Dally said, or wherever you get your podcast. Also, go over to Quench, buy a bottle of Quench, and use the promo code Game Day Tarps Podcast, all caps, all one word, for 15% off your total order. And go check out the Hockey Podcast Network, everything they've got going on over there, but specifically GDT. We'll see you in the next one.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning into another episode over here on the Hockey Podcast Network and Game Day Tarps Podcast. We've got so much more for you. We've got lots cooking. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and smash that notification bell so you never miss a beat. For myself and the other guys over here at Game Day Tarps, we'll see you next time.